Before continuing, discussing about the government, which is the key for us, so many times quoted about the program. I would like to explain something important, and that is the relationship between the different yoga systems in Bhagavad Gita. And it's very important to understand that clearly. In the previous chapter, we spoke about karma yoga, acting out of duty without being attached to the results. That is also an aspect of the balance system. Everyone does his duty according to his social position and one's psychophysical nature. But so what's the result if one does that? So I speak here about karma yoga in the sense, not in the sense of Krishna consciousness. The person is not Krishna conscious, but he's acting out of duty without being attached to the results. If we are attached to the results, we become contaminated by lust, and we lose the ability to understand our position on the spirit soul. We have heard about the covering potency of lust, how it covers our eternal knowledge, so when one acts without being attached to the result, then no new contaminations come in. That one does not make karma. That's good. But one does not become purified either. Not much, because to become purified, Krishna must be involved. But okay, you lead a less simple life. You become more peaceful by not being attached to the results, and a spark of knowledge comes through. And that spark of knowledge means one starts to question, who am I? Why am I in this material world? Why am I suffering? So these questions that come up, who am I? Usually people in this world will not ask that question. But if you perform karma yoga, a little purification, a little light, and that comes, who am I? And then, because they become a little purified, not much, they start to ask this question. And then they come from karma yoga to jnana yoga, to jnana. They want to understand who they are, and they start to discuss they start to read Vedanta Sutra, or they try to understand the difference between matter and spirit, the soul is spirit, and the method of this impersonalists who study Vedanta is called 1980. I'm not this, I'm not that. That's their method, analyzing. I'm not this mind, that I'm not this body, and finally they come to they analyze as such in 24 elements. We will see these elements in the 13th chapter. We will analyze this Sankhya, that anyway, these 24 elements. We will hear already in chapter 7. Bhumi-Apana Varkama Namanavitari Vasam Angarityamin Paratibhi Paratibhi Astada. Krishna says, these are my 7 separated and 8 separate entities, Bina state, that earth, air, water, fire, and ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. The last 3 is the subtle one. These are separated and so these are 8 elements. And then we have 5 senses, knowledge gathering senses. We hear, we see, and so on. We feel that we are the objects of these, that we are seeing, that we are experiencing, that and we have 5 working senses. I'm talking more with the hands are working and so on. So, and then you have Mahatattva. Mahatattva is more difficult to understand. We say the material nature is sometimes, we say Bhakti is eternal, but sometimes it's manifest and sometimes it's unmanifest. Unmanifest nature is not that kind of, that's also there. So by that, they have already, we come to 24 elements in total, and let's study that. And we are not these elements. All this we are not. We are but besides these 24 elements, we have the soul and you have the super soul. That's element 25 and 26. So they come to the conclusion, I'm a spirit soul at the end. And they try actively to announce, keep up sense gratification, because that's for the body, and I'm not the body. It is very difficult. Krishna will speak about that in the 5th chapter, next chapter already. This impersonal part is very difficult. Announcing that without a positive alternative. But anyway, the point is, by the study of that knowledge, they come to the conclusion, I am a spirit soul, I'm not this body. That they have the knowledge, not the realization. That's different. That so they know I'm not the body. Good. I'm a spirit soul. And they want liberation, which is difficult to attain just by renunciation and study. Mostly that doesn't happen. But then, if they are lucky, they come to the point of, I want liberation. There are different paths. We have the impersonal path of liberation, is renunciation and study of Vedanta. It's very difficult and very painful. That when these are the impersonalists, Lord Chaitanya will meet at Benares. Prakasananda is the head of these. Prakasananda said to Lord Chaitanya, you have taken sannyas. We see you are young, so beautiful. Why you are dancing like a sentimentalist? You are a sannyasi. you should study Vedanta and renounce all these things. So that's their thing. But then they could see that Lord Chaitanya was so completely effulgent, like Narayan. And Lord Chaitanya said, yes, I'm not studying Vedanta because my spiritual master told me that I'm a big fool. I did not study Vedanta. He said, you just chant these holy names. Lord Chaitanya said, I chanted these holy names and I became mad. What can I do? But then he explained to the Mayavadis that, but Vedanta, yes, that's, then he started to explain the real Vedanta. And he defeated all their arguments. And they became all devoted of Krishna. That's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Not just to mention this impersonalist. But then others, if they come to the point, I understand that not this body, I'm spirit soul, but because instead of striving for liberation from material existence, because they don't know really what liberation is. They think liberation is, I'm getting out of the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. And that's liberation. That may be liberation, but it's not self-realization. It's a first step, liberation. So impersonalists, their purpose is mostly mukti, liberation. Liberation, that's what they want. So when we chant holy name, we go to the same process. We have the real karma yoga. We do it for Krishna. Therefore, not only we are not karma free, but the heart becomes purified from all these attachments. Just by chanting the holy name, by performing devotion service, by studying Bhagavad Gita, we become purified. But we don't have to go to the renunciation tapasya of these renunciants. These renunciants and these impersonalists, they want to give up all sense gratification. It's very painful. We give also up sense gratification by using our sense in the service of Krishna. At least we can eat prasad and so on. But they want to give up all eating, very difficult. So they want liberation, but if we chant our name, perform devotional service, and we give up our offenses in the chanting, our heart becomes purified, and when our heart is purified, is nishta, liberation. We come also to that liberation, but that's just the stage. The next stage is getting Paramatma revelation. Ruchi Ashakti. That's the next stage, Paramatma. So if these impersonalists, some of them, they are thinking, yes, I'm a spirit soul. I want to experience being a spirit soul. And then they come to the practice of Ashtanga yoga. That's the next yoga. If they are lucky, they go to the next one, Ashtanga yoga. Eightfold yoga system that starting with Niyam, Yam, Asham, and that's Pranayam, Pratyahara, that then Dharan, Dhyan, Samadhi, that it's a whole process. It's Ashtanga yoga, which is which we will discuss more in the sixth chapter, Krishna will found that it's a whole process. So, but what's the purpose of this yoga system? So the purpose of the impersonal is for liberation. What's the purpose of the yoga system? Performing yoga is the purpose. Yeah, I have too much fat. I want to get rid of my fat. No, I'm doing it for my health. No, it's also not that. I want mystic powers. No, it's also not that. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita 6, 7, I think, Siddhartha Prasantatma Paramatma Samahita. The purpose is to control the mind. We control the mind and the senses by engaging them in Krishna service. By controlling the mind, then the mind becomes peaceful. That Chitatmana controls Chitta Atmana, controlling the mind. So Chitatmana Prasanta, peaceful. And if the mind is peaceful, what does that mean, a peaceful mind? No material desires anymore. Zero. Completely. How do they these yoga practitioners, how do they get rid of these material desires? Breathing exercises, mechanic, but it takes very long time. It can take lifetimes to do it. But finally, they come to the point of purifying their heart. Chitta, Atmana, Prasantasya, Paramatma Samahita. So if we are really peaceful in heart, we can feel Krishna in heart. They come in contact with the heart, with Krishna in the heart, with Paramatma. So the purpose of the yogis is Paramatma realization. But if we chant, we come to Anartha Nivritti, is our heart is purified. Nishta, liberation, and then we get taste for Krishna, Ruchi, and then Ashakti, that's Paramatma realization. We are also going to that stage. But we don't have to apply another process. It's all Bhakti Yoga. We serve, we chant, we hear about Krishna, all activities of devotional service, 9 activities, Shravana, Kirtana, Vishnu Smarana, that we do in the beginning of the process, and we do that also after liberation, we do that also after Asakti, and we do that also when we get prema, and we do that also when we are going back to the spiritual world. From that activity they do that. We don't change our activities, no other yoga process, one yoga process. But the other yoga processes are partial realizations of that process. Partial. The first step is liberation. The second is Paramatma realization. And the third part is Bhagavan. Because Krishna will say in Bhagavad Gita, that's at the end of the 6th chapter, Yognam Avisarvasam Madhyanam Rachan Vastava Vachatevan Samyukta Damanpa. Highest yoga is one who is united within the heart in love. So these yogis, they find Krishna in the heart as Paramatma, and that's good. They come to the realization that Paramatma controls material nature. Nice realization. What do they get from it? Nothing. They stay in the material nature, that's all. Unless they understand that Paramatma is an expansion of Krishna. And then they will perform Bhakti, devotional service. They go to the next stage. So, why going through all these processes? Take to the direct process, Bhakti. That moment, I'm halfway. A lot of more to say. Your question may be answered. So the point is here that why does Krishna then mention these yoga systems in the Bhagavad Gita? He could have made the Bhagavad Gita very short, yeah, and thus after chastising Arjuna, he could have spoken of the soul, and straight he could have come to Manmanabha, Mabhakto, Najiman, Master, think of me, worship me, become my devotee, surrender unto me. But would have been a short Bhagavad Gita. So why is Krishna doing that? He's concerned with all types of transcendentals. Is concerned with those who believe that absolute truth is only Brahman, and they say Krishna does not exist. He wants them also to make spiritual advance. And also the yogis, even if they want mystic powers, he wants them to make spiritual advancement. Because that brings us to the point of today here. That's verse 11. Ye yatamam pravacante tamstate vacam. That's 4:11. Oh yeah. Ye yatamam pravacante. Mama bhaktman bhaktatye. Anisha sarvasam. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, verse 11. And now this will make more sense, because those who are impersonalists, who want just who perform karma yoga, they are on the path. But either they go after karma yoga to bhakti yoga, or they go, if they don't believe in Krishna, they can go to jnana yoga. And then afterwards, to Ashtanga yoga. They are all on the path. But it's a path that goes over many lifetimes. Bhaunam Sanamante Jnana Pama Papachite Bhasti Savanti Samatma Sudolava. Krishna will tell her in the 7th chapter. After many births, they come to the conclusion, Vasudeva Krishna is the source of all these things. And then they surrender to Krishna. So that's an important point to understand. Everyone is on the path, but it can take many births. Therefore, Krishna says, yes, everyone follows my path in all respect. That means everyone is on the path, but you get your result according to the path you are following, to your surrender. You surrender to Brahman, to Paramatma, you get the result accordingly. It's not that every path leads to the same result. No, the path of the impersonalist may lead to Brahman realization. They get Brahman realization. And the path of yoga leads to Paramatma realization. The different paths. It's not that all paths lead to the same result. No, that's a mistake. Some Mayavadi philosophers tell you, whatever path you follow, it's okay. That you are God, I am God, everything. That's what they think. So this is Baladev Vidyabhushan. I said, I respond to persons according to the manner and mood in which they surrender unto me. Personapita. All blessed men follow these various paths, the worship of me, the one Lord. that various paths of worship. Some worship the impersonal Brahman, some Paramatma, the different paths. But at the end, Krishna says, Sarvam Krishna Mam Kamsam Vaja. Give up all these paths. Just take to Bhakti. That's the only path. Because finally they must come to Bhakti. You cannot go back to the spiritual world without devotional service. You must love Krishna and the spiritual world and serve Krishna. Otherwise, you cannot be happy there. Because that's what they do there. But first, we must give up sense gratification. But that will not really occur when you mix with others. No separate endeavor. Because you get a higher taste. I mean, if you get something higher, it's easy to give up the lower. So Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in transcendental attitude. Impersonalists want to commit suicide by annihilating the individual existence of the living entity. Many want to merge with Brahman, but you cannot merge because the soul cannot be cut to pieces. And Krishna says, we remain individuals. All these kings, you and me, it's not possible. But the point is, take to the right poses. Krishna consciousness. It doesn't matter whether you are full of material desires, but no material desires. Akama, Sabakama, Pam, Moksakama, Udara, Tifrena, Bhakti, Yoda, Chaiti, Pushamparam. That's the verse quoted at the end of the purpose. Whether you are full of material desires, have no material desires, or your desire of liberation, with great force, Tifrena, perform Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, and finally, you will attain the Supreme Personality of God. Good. That is Baladevidya Bhushan. I certainly respond to the devotees according to the mood in which they worship. God worship me. Prabhupada writes in the purport. He takes over Baladevidya Bhushan literally. I'm merciful to them, appearing before them with form and mood appropriate to their type of mood. So Krishna will deal differently with Mother Yasoda than with his queens in Varka. He reciprocates. All these men, Manusha selves, are blessed with their lineage of worship, which have no beginning or the power of worship, Bhakma, which has many times for the many different forms of the one form. So everyone is searching for Krishna. We explained that in the beginning. Some are searching for Brahman. Who are they called? The Jnanis. And those who search for Paramatma? Yogis. And those who search for Bhagavan? Devotees. Yeah. That's different goals. They attain different things. The pure devotee has five relationships, five kind of relationship with Krishna is situated in one of these five. Santan, neutrality, dasya, servant, sakya, friendship, vatsalya, parental, madhurya is the most intense. Seeing Krishna as one's lover. But it's just, they are all transcendental, but one is more intense in love than the other. You are a servant of Krishna, okay, nice, that's what we are. But if you are in the Sakya Ras, a friend is also the servant of his friends, that's included. And then if you go to parental love, the parents, they are serving their children, not true? serving and sharing. And yes, and but of course, the parents are also the friends of the children. That and they take care of us parents. And then um, in the Madhurya, yes, the husband and wife relationship. They also serve each other. That should be serving each other. Our friends, friendship is there. And they take care of us in the parental mode also. So that's all included. That's more intense. But the yogis, they want Paramatma realization. These are the bona fide yogis. Those who deviate, they want mystic powers. That's mentioned also in the 11th canto of the Bible. Mystic powers is in their use. And impersonalists, they want to enter in Brahman. So, and the Buddhist workers, they want to enjoy in this world, and Krishna gives them all what they want according to their level of realization. Yeah. I don't hear.
So we see that the first stage in the Vedic system, we say that you have to get it to the flow, like just in the Vedic pattern, or you might Vedic, or just
The most part on this world, we will hear Srila Prabhupada will explain that in the 7th chapter. Four kind of people who do not surrender to him. One is the Nagadams. The Nagadams, Srila Prabhupada said, is 99.9% of the population. They are socially developed and trying to enjoy the world, but they do one simple activities after another. They are all on the way to lower species of life. 99.9%. Sorry for that. That's what Prabhupada says. That's the people in this world. So they are, because Krishna said according to their surrender, they don't want to. They are even not on the path. That's the problem. So, throw the Jnanis who think my birth was temporary into the nose of Maya. The Jnanis and others who surrender to me while thinking my birth and activities as temporary, and thinking of my daily form as material, I throw those Jnanis again and again in the nose of Maya, which is temporary births and action, and bestow upon them sorrows of birth and death, so they don't go anywhere. So Lord Krishna responds to our surrender, area of surrender, that we're surrendering to Krishna. He was in trouble, he had a crocodile out his face, and he developed a mood of surrender. Now the next 4 verses, Lord Krishna and his devotees, Krishna will say they are niskam, they don't have material desires. I will read this 4 verses, the translation. Many in this world desire fruitive activities and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, man gets results from fruitive work in this world. According to the dreamers of nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of society are created by me. And although I'm the creator of this system, you should know that I'm yet unknown, being unseen. There's no law that affects me, nor do I inspire for fruits of action. When you understand this truth about me, also does not become entangled in fruitive action. So, all the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty and follow in their footsteps. So, some scholars they think that demigods are forms of God, but actually they are part and parcels of Krishna, like we. But they get delegate powers to manage the material world. That they get the post as temple president. And they can know. People worship demigods, powerful beings, to gain immediate facility. And that all their boons are perishable. Krishna will explain that further. So those who approach the demigods and they want to fulfill their temporary material desires, yes, they are less intelligent species, alpha megas. Because what do they get? They get something for the body, and the body is temporary. And the demigods are temporary, because they are temporary, they cannot give something permanent. It's not very intelligent, these things. And then we have the Varnashram system, yes? Varnashram system. Varnashram system is a system that will bring us to the human level of existence. That it elevates one from the animal status. The animal thinks that one is the body and just enjoying the body. That the human level of is human are meant to come to goodness and understand their situation and strive for liberation. And Varnashram brings us all to that level that by doing one's duty according, without being attached to the results. And Krishna does the minimum. And Krishna has established that system. And the Kshatriyas, they were to look after the people that they are in that system leading to liberation, that they do their duty according to their varnas, but also according to their ashrams, that they have a sadhana and that they are striving. But of course, a Vaishnava is above this system, that because Mams Yoga Vicharna Bhakti Sripati Saktan Sanati Chikambha Kalpati. The Buddha concerns this but Krishna has created this Sham system. And Krishna says, yeah, I'm unaffected by all the activity in this world. He's a lawmaker. It's not under the laws. And we as spirit souls should come to the same level, not being affected by this. How do you come to that level? Acting without desires, following the liberated souls. Yes. So Krishna creates the world. And Krishna remains the world. Living entities are internal because why are we internal? We want to enjoy Krishna's resources, which are meant for his service. That's punishable. Then the living entities become responsible for their actions. And Krishna gives us reactions. Therefore, yes, it's not that we start Krishna conscious and we want to give up everything. No, we have to remain in our social situation where we are and use our situation to make advancement. Therefore, Krishna advised Arjuna, God Kshatriya, you should fight and give the example, but without attachment to the God. For my pleasure. So these are comments here. Lord Krishna is about the Nishkam, without material desires. Lord Krishna has created the Varnashram system whereby men can fulfill their material desires and make progress towards liberation. But he is above the system. Krishna is neutral and only facilitates through the agency of material nature fulfillment of the jiva's desire to act, but is not responsible for their right or wrong activities and subsequent results. You will say that in chapter 5. Now that they get not he does not aspire for the fruits of action, these are the for material actions and reactions. And June should follow the example of the past liberated souls who acted with this understanding of Krishna and his transcendental nature. So that is the summary of that entire section from 12 to 15 on the verse. So that you understand what Krishna is saying here, that the worship of demigods for success in fruitive activity. Anyone who thinks that God and the demigods are on the same level is called an atheist or Protestant in the scripture. And thus the Chaturvyam verse, Chaturvyamaya system. The Brahman predominated by sattva have actions such as dharma and dharma, controlling the mind and sense. The Kshatriyas predominated by rajas have actions such as fighting. Those with rajas and tamas dominant, the Vaishyas perform activities of agriculture in cultures. The Sudras predominated by tamas serve the other two varnas. Yes. Varnashram is meant for systematic development of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada was concerned about that because he saw many of his disciples were not going to make it. And therefore he wanted Varnashram so that he can remain busy and connected with Krishna through the Varnashram system. But anyway, there's something we have still to develop. So the tendency of a particular man towards work is determined by the modes of your nature, yes. The devotee transcends the limited knowledge of Brahman and reaches knowledge of the Supreme Personality of the Krishna, and thus becomes Krishna conscious. The person in Krishna consciousness transcends Brahman. So Varnashram is like a safety belt that if you follow Varnashram and you perform your activities as a devotee or sadhana, if you fall down in goodness. So that's good. Because that's the culture of Krishna consciousness. As Krishna is transcendental to the Varnashram system of all divisions of human society, a person in Krishna consciousness is also transcendental to all divisions of human society. Whether we consider the division of community, nation, or species, Varnashram creates a peaceful society and brings participants fully to the mode of goodness. Reflections. If the authorities want to engage me in service, which is contrary to my psychophysical nature, then what should I do? So the temple president said, you clean the temple hall. And we say, no, that's not my nature. No, we cannot do that. The principle here is that generally you should act according to your nature. But everyone has to clean the temple and wash the dishes and that is, yeah, that's, but yes, if you are a salesman, it's good to be a book distributor. That's your nature. And if you are an administrator, get into the accountancy or become then you take leadership and you will become purified. Actions do not contaminate you. So Krishna said, I have no desire for the fruits of work. One who knows this truth about me is not bound by actions. Yes, a king can do no wrong, is not subject to the state laws. Lord Krishna is not affected by the activities of the world. The proprietor of the factory never designs the low-grade happiness, such as the workers may desire. These are points Srila Prabhupada makes. So rains are not responsible for the different types of vegetation, although with such rains there is no growth possibility of vegetative growth. Similarly, the Lord gives facilities for the reactions of the jivas, past good and bad activities. The living entity is responsible for its own. That's analogy that explains that. Reflections. Lord Krishna has no desire for the foods of pork. When will I give up my desire for food in pork by adopting the course of devotion service? Which means offering the result of my work and the work of the Lord. What we have to do. And then we become as free as the Lord. Text 50. Knowing this truth is about me, those desire liberation, ancient times performed actions without desire. Therefore, perform action as the ancient performed it, following after their predecessors. But if one is impure in heart, one should perform these actions to purify. This leads to jnana. So we have heard the jnana is studying Vedanta, but we hear the Bhagavatam and we perform devotional service. Here's this story. Bhakti Maharaj was in a temple working at the desk. And a visitor came and he asked, Maharaj, can I ask you some questions? And Bhakti said, I'm now busy, but come in half an hour. But in the meantime, you see the pujari there, help him to clean the brass paraphernalia for the deities. And then he went, the person went and started to clean, and then half hour later, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati went to see him and said, now you can ask your question. Oh, the man said, well, I was doing the service, all the answers came into my mind. So that. Anyway, usually it doesn't happen so quick, but we get the realization that I'm a good human. Yeah. If one is impure in heart, one should perform these actions to purify heart. Devotion serves purify. This leads to jnana. So it put a little footnote. It purifies the heart, but it will purify your heart according to the purity of your intention in the service. It should be really to please Krishna. That or we can say this for Krishna, this for me, but then it's going slow. Purity in intention. That's important. This leads to jnana. If one is already pure in heart, one should perform the action to teach others. Reflections. Lord Krishna advised Arjuna to engage in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna, following the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciple. Do I perform activities for the sake of Krishna 24 hours a day? Question. The next session, transcendental action, free one from material bondage and drawbacks. So this is an interesting section. It explains the different kinds of actions that one can do and the reactions that one gets from. At first, going to read all these verses. 16, the translation. even the intelligence are bewildered in determining what action and what is inaction is. Knowledge shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand, therefore one should properly know what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he's on the in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. One is understood in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by the sages to be a worker for whom the action of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Abandoning all attachment to the result of his activities, ever satisfied and independently performs no furtive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Such a man of understanding, active mind, intelligence, perfectly control, gives up all sense of proprietorship of his position and acts only for the bare necessities of life. This working is not affected by simple reactions. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of his own accord, who is free from duality, and who does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. So, this is a whole, a lot of information. So, Krishna, as I've explained, his transcendental position, and now he's going to discuss action, three kinds of action, and how to perform action on the transcendental part. Verse 12. So to understand the intricacies of action, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. Who are these authorities? Yamaraj mentioned them to the Yamadutas in 6.320 Bhagavatam. Swayambhuna Tasmambu Kumar Kapalona Pradashanako Vishma Bhagavata Vyasa Sakya. And Lord Narada, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kopila, Swayambhu Brahman, Parad Maharaj, Shanak Maharaj, Grandfather Vishma, Bali Maharaj, Kalip Goswami, and myself, Yamaraj, know the real principles. So the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what actions, what forbidden actions, what inactions. So there you have text 17. Hmm? But 6.320. Karmano yapi bodhavyam bodhavyam sami karmano akarmana sabodhavyam karna karmano dati. So you have three Sanskrit terms here. Karma, vikarma, and akarma. So akarma means action on the transcendental platform. I compare it to a blue button. Krishna is blue. Hmm? And then you have karma. This karma refers to sukarma, pious deeds. And what pious deeds gives you happiness for the body in the next life. That's the green button. And vikarma is simple activities against the scripture, breaking of the four regulated principles. That's the red button. So these are like buttons that activate these. That, and if you push on the green button, the sukarma button, then result will be happiness for the body in the next life. You push the red button, the vikarma, simple activities, is suffering in the next life. Yeah? Or you push on the blue button, action for Krishna, that then you don't get reactions of your activities. And you become purified of previous reactions that so that's Krishna consciousness. But that's so if you push the red and the green button, then how you push these buttons? What does the soul do? Desire. By our desire, we push. We push the blue button by the desire to please Krishna and give all the result to him. Okay? We push the green button by doing activities according to the scriptures that will give us happiness in next life, like giving charity, that feeding people, all these things, opening hospitals, and especially charity. And when you push the red button, then that means suffering. You want to enjoy without Krishna. But the red and the green button, from a transcendental perspective, it's the same thing. Because if you perform good karma, you must take birth again to receive the reaction. You must take birth again, grow old, be diseased, and die. Is that a good thing? No. So that's also bad. Also, the only right button is the green button, because it's the blue button, Krishna button. Because if you push on the button of the sukarma and the vikarma, you are going to remain in this world. You get reactions, good or bad. That it means reactions means you act in this world. But when you put on the material platform, you act, and you don't act on the spiritual platform. But when you push the blue button, then you are acting on you be active on the transcendental platform, but inactive on the material platform. And that is what Arjuna didn't get. That's what Krishna says in the next verse. That he says, one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction. I will explain that. In the past, in previous Bhakti Sastri, I explained that different times. And I tell them I will ask this question on the exam. But question comes into the exam, and they get it, they don't get it. So Krishna says the intricacies of karma is difficult to understand. He warns us. And Arjuna, that's also his problem. Because what does it mean? Inaction in action. Inactive. Impersonalists, they want to become inactive, give up everything up. So they stop doing anything. but they are still breathing, they still need to eat, they have to do something on the material platform, and that gets reactions. Although they are inactive, they get reaction. That so that is action within inaction. That's the second thing. Action within action. To understand it, so action within action. Think like that. Action within inaction. You are inactive, but within your inactive being, you are materially active because you have to breathe, you have to eat, you have still to think. That gives all the actions. Okay? But now you have the other one. That there is inaction in action. That inaction within action. So Arjuna has to fight as his devotion service for Krishna. That is action, but within is inactive on the material platform because there are no reactions. You get that point? No. Okay, let's see, whiteboard. No, it's not showing, but there's a way to do it. No. And the tree. Okay. And the problem is I cannot write in it, cannot see it. So first we have action within inaction. Oh. So this is inaction within action. Yeah. It means you're performing, you are active spiritual, but you are inactive at the material. If you act for Krishna, you are spiritually active, action. But within that action is materially inaction. That, what does it mean, materially inactive? Yeah, no karma, karma free. That if you are active on a material platform, you get karma. Active on the material platform is sukarma, vikarma, the green and the red bottom. We push that with our desire. So the desire that are behind our actions cause the result. And the result of action for Krishna is no material reaction. And that is inaction within action. Material inaction within spiritual action. You can add the words. I will do it. So, material inaction within spiritual action is serving Krishna. Inaction within spiritual action is serving, I can not read the last one, is serving Krishna. Spiritual action is serving Krishna. Then there's no material reaction. Is that clear? No. It doesn't seem convinced your face. It's simple. If you serve Krishna, there's no material reaction. You don't get karma. And this is just another name. It's just another name. Action means here serving Krishna. And inactivity means no reaction, no reaction. So if you act for Krishna, there's no reaction. Materially inactive, no reaction. We get it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No reaction is no action. Within the spiritual life, when you follow action.
Yeah, that's spiritual action.
There is no.
Yeah, no material reaction. That is inaction within action, or inaction in action. Okay. And the other is just the opposite. As the impersonalist, he is inactive, but still materially is active, because he's still breathing and so on. He didn't push. He doesn't want to push any button, but that doesn't matter. That's not working, because you are still pushing the red and the green button if you don't do anything. And that's the problem of Arjuna. He thinks if I'm renouncing, I give everything up, no, then I'm not responsible. No reaction. But no, there is action in his inaction, because you have to maintain the body still. And that, yes.
Mentally, I was understanding that maybe action and inaction was people going around like getting all the jobs, doing all of these things, but then not actually getting anything accomplished on a spiritual platform. And then inaction and action is when outside kind of look at the bodies like we're not really doing it, but we're actually doing a lot for not actually engaging. So why does it seem like this is going against two different transcendentalists? Because even transcendentalists are maybe not engaged like this, they're also doing it with people, which is not complete. So why?
Yeah, that's what I try to explain. Is if you are not acting for Krishna, you get reactions from the audience.
Spiritual and karma, like an action and a karma.
Yeah, yeah. So again, action within inaction. That's impersonalist. Yes, they want not to be active, and they think they are spiritually, but they are active materially. That because Krishna is not involved. That's it's inaction in action. Action is spiritually, and then you are materially inactive. You don't get reactions. It's like simple. But so intricacies of action are very hard to understand. We try to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. You have to know these three, because if you constantly push on the wrong button, you get serious difficulty. So we have to learn to push the blue button. So one should understand the truth about vikarma, that performance of forbidden action leads to misery. Here, all these meat eaters, it's, yeah. Anyway, they try to force you into that. This modern society, that if you are already a vegetarian, they think something wrong. But being vegetarian is still pushing the green button, but not the blue. Yes. Anyway. Yeah, better to, we are not vegetarians, we are Krishnatarians. Yeah, okay, Krishna. Something very different. Because if you are vegetarian, still the green button, you take bird again, so we don't want that. Verse 17. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one is to learn one's relationship with the Supreme. This means that one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is an eternal servitor of the Lord, and consequently, one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed towards this conclusion. Any other conclusions against this consciousness and its attendance action are with karmas or prohibited actions. So this is Prabhupada's definition. What is his definition of simple life? He spoke about red button, activities against scripture. But Prabhupada says, every action which is not Krishna conscious is simple. So the green button is simple from a transcendental perspective. And that's what Prabhupada is saying. Yeah. Yes.
To go back one, just clarification. It said action according to its mode. Is that the karma, a karma, b karma?
Acting according to Krishna conscious and action according to his modes. One is to learn one's relationship with the Supreme. So this means one is to understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes. Means that action according to its modes means action to according to our psychophysical nature. And that action we must do in our use in our relationship of service to Krishna. Is that clarifying? That's what it means. That. To understand this, one has to associate with authority in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. Otherwise, even the most intelligent person will be bewildered. The reflections are my daily activities, karma, vikarma, or karma. You don't have to reply. It's an internal exercise. So action in full knowledge. Intently engaged in actions, but having given up the desire for the result of action, being always satisfied in the future realization of Atma, and not dependent on others. This person does nothing at all. So that's the go button, that no reaction. But if you analyze that, give up giving up the desire for results. That's very difficult. But it becomes easy if you give the results to Krishna. So being always satisfied in the future of Atma, always satisfied, but whatever happens, good or bad, it's okay for me. Not easy. And not dependent on others. This person does nothing at all. The point is here that what goes is the reaction. If we want results, we get reaction. Oh, I want to be happy in the future, something for me. And there you go. First 12. Freedom from the bondage of actions is possible only in Krishna consciousness when one is doing everything for Krishna. Yeah. A person in Krishna consciousness. So this is the simple formula. You just do everything for Krishna. A person in Krishna consciousness, an attached person is always free. An attached person is always free from the result of action of good and bad. It is though if we are not doing anything on the material platform. That's inaction on the material platform. But active spirit. So this is a sign of karma or action without reaction. Yeah.
So there are those four types of people. They are doing Krishna conscious activity, but still their motive is material.
Yeah.
So it is going to produce material God.
They have these desires. But there's a difference, and that has to be understood. That someone asked Srila Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there in this country? And so God turned to his secretary and said, how many devotees do we have now in this country? So he considered them all pure devotees. Whether they're pure in heart, no, they are not. But their actions were this of a pure devotee. Means the purity in desire behind your action. That makes the action pure. Your heart may still be contaminated, but you are not doing this action out of condemnation of your heart. You do it purely to please the pure devotee of Krishna and Krishna. And that is what acting on the liberated platform. Nicholas if one uses my body, mind, words, and convictions completely in the service of Krishna, one is implicitly liberated. Means one will be liberated very soon, because these actions are purifying that, but especially when Prabhupada was there in the middle of the 70s, joining ISKCON meant, yeah, you had to live in the temple. Give all your possessions away and you join. And that was it. And then the whole day going out and distributing magazines, they were completely surrendered. That they wanted to please Prabhupada. They were not pure, but their intention was pure. And what was the result of that? This period is in the history of ISKCON is called the Hare Krishna explosion. We distributed millions of books and opened temples in that period all over the world, more than 400 temples. And that's the result of that pure action. So pure devotee that on two levels. Those who are acting purely and those who are pure in heart, they act automatically. What else?
For acting for your devotee, despite being Sukruti,
Yeah.
still going to purify your desires in the future.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, it will purify your desires now, but you do not act out of your contaminated desire. So you have these four who are coming to Krishna. So Dhruva Maharaj had his desire, but did not his actions. He was not doing that. Because of that, he was following the instructions of Narada. Narada said, you make this deity and you chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he was worshipping the Supreme Lord. He had these material desires, but his purity was the following of the instructions of his spiritual master. And what happened? His heart became purified to the point that he saw the Lord face to face. And then the Lord touched him, Krishna Garbha Vishnu, with the conch, and then the last community coming. The last thing was gone, and then he felt embarrassed. Why did I desire that? But he was pure in his intention to please Narada Muni. He was not focusing on wealth of what else, but that was his intention in the beginning. Anyway, that's the first Akama Savako and Moksha Kama without it. Good activities of Krishna conscious devotee reflections. Do I act for my own benefit, for Krishna, or for my own personal benefit? So that's the point. Oiling the machine. As a machine requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, so a Krishna conscious man maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for action in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He is therefore immune to all the reactions of his endeavor. Yeah. So we meant like, okay, we have a desire to eat nice food. In Krishna consciousness, there is no obstacle to enjoy the food, but we do it to maintain the body nicely, to oil the machine, not out of sense gratification. So we should not eat too much. If you eat more than you can digest, then you get in trouble. You cannot control your senses. So that's the principle here. Yeah. So understanding and inner satisfaction of the Krishna conscious person. Understanding first. A Krishna conscious person does not expect good or bad results in his activities. That's the question. We strive for the best result, but we don't expect. A Krishna conscious person fully engaged in self-realization has very little time to falsely possess any material object. So yeah, a Krishna conscious person that it's a brahmachari, but we should all be like brahmachari. It means every month you should go to your possessions, and what you did not use for a month, give it to another devotee who can use it. Yeah. A devotee should also not keep food for later. That's certainly not a brahmachari. I remember we were in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a mystical place. At Viyachi, at the Gokul, at Gosha. And we were reading from the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam. No, it was, I think, of the 7th canto, the duties of a brahmachari. And there is mentioned in a verse that a brahmachari should not keep any food for later. And when Mother Narayani was reading that from the Bhagavatam, and before that, a brahmachari with the Bhagavatam and with a little table, under the table there was a tiffin. And on the tiffin, there was a banana. And when she read the verse of the Bhagavatam, just that verse, a monkey appeared in the door opening, came inside, took this banana and went out. Was immediate practice. Inner satisfaction of the devotee. A Krishna conscious person is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own effort. He's satisfied with what's obtained by his own honest labor. Srila Prabhupada. So that is, we have to learn. Krishna has put us in a certain position by our previous actions. And we are happy Krishna is putting us in that position. Thank you, Krishna. That accept your situation. Accept the situation you get. If you accept your situation, you become peaceful. It's very important. That and then you are always happy. Whatever situation Krishna puts you in, thank you, Krishna. Your life will change. Inner satisfaction. We have to learn that how would the past have been different if I had acted always without attachment and aversion towards happiness and distress, and without any sense of possessiveness, always satisfied with what comes to his own accord? Would be different. Now, in the next section, Krishna will speak about different sacrifices, principles, categories, results. And I will read for you now all these verses that 24 is an important verse. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is of the same spiritual nature. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and other sacrifices in the fire of Supreme Brahman. Some unadulterated brahmacharis sacrifice the healing force and the sense in the fire of mental control, and others regulated householders sacrifice the object of the sense in the fire of the sense. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses, offer the functions of all senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing of yoga, the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Still others were inclined in a pose of breath restraint to remain in trance, practiced by offering the movement of the outgoing breath in the incoming and incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. All these performances will know the meaning of sacrifice, the components of simple reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifice, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. O best of the Koro dynasty, without sacrifice, we can never live happy on this planet or in this life, but then of the next. All these different sacrifices are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. With chastisement of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Krita, all the sacrifice of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So all these sacrifices will bring us to the level of transcendental knowledge. But then after that, Krishna will explain the method to get the knowledge directly from the spiritual master. So this is 24. Okay. So the first verse, let's see. So this is a summary. After describing how to act on the transcendental platform, the blue button, you remember? Yeah. Krishna describes a variety of sacrifices because the ultimate goal of these transcendental sacrifices is transcendental knowledge. These sacrifices are going to purify you because they are related to Krishna. And that's the theme of this chapter, transcendental knowledge, how to get it. So the sacrifice has already been discussed in 3 nights, where Krishna explained that without sacrifice of Krishna, one cannot live happy in this world. So cure the disease. That is verse 24. That so much to say on this verse, but I'm trying to go quickly. 24. Pramachpanam pramadya pramachna pramanayatam pramaikatin kantavyam bhavakasmati. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciously serves to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution in spiritual activities in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. It means whatever you offer to Krishna, whatever you use in Krishna's service becomes spiritual, goes from matter to spirit. In the 70s, somewhere here in America, the devotees went to a university campus and they put a flyer. We will perform an experiment to turn matter into spirit. Everyone is welcome that time. So, and many came and what did the devotees do? They offered food to Krishna and distributed the food. That the matter has become spiritual food. But everything we use in Krishna's service, like the Brahman does the sacrifice with his ladle, pulls the ghee, spaha, the ghee, the ladle, everything you use in Krishna's service becomes spiritual. It goes from matter to spirit. So a person who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product named curd. The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness as it called in the Gita. Converting matter into spirit. That's not spirit. Matter dovetailed for the cause of the absolute truth regains its spiritual nature. Krishna consciousness is the process of converting the illusory consciousness into Brahman or the Supreme. Turning spirit into matter. Reflections. Which path do I choose? Converting spirit into matter or matter into spirit? That material process is converting the spirit into matter. It's not because matter comes from spirit, that chemicals comes from spirit. Like the lemon tree grows, and then you have lemons with acid, chemicals. But the tree grows only because of the spirit soul. The spirit soul, by the power of mystic power of the spirit soul, matter is created. We don't want to do that anymore. So then Krishna, he describes all these sacrifices and their results. Some are for brahmacharis, some are for households. That we will see a different sacrifice for different categories of people. That is what is described here. But we will see our main process is approaching a spiritual master. A person engaged in discharging duty in Krishna consciousness is also called a perfect yogi or first-class mystic. But there are others also. Worship of demigods by karma yogis, fruitive workers sacrifice their material possessions for material enjoyment. Worship of the impersonal Brahman by offering their identity, material designations into Brahman by jnana, that's done by jnana yogis. The different processes that we see that is developing ones, and it's quite philosophical, of course. So you have this various sacrifice. 26 is about the brahmacharis. Under the care of a bona fide spiritual master, they control the mind and abstain from sense gratification. Brahmacharis should only eat when the spiritual master tells them to. Anyway, we don't practice that. Practicing control of the mind to detach the sense from sense gratification and engage all heirs of life in searching for self-realization, control of the mind, that through controlling the heirs of mind. That, not an easy process. Those who perform pranayama. These yogis try to balance their outgoing breath into the incoming, and then make it and stop the breathing. And then their mind is controlled. Can go into meditation. Anyway, then Dravya Maya Chakya. There are persons who are sacrificing their possessions in the form of various kinds of charity. But Krishna will say the sacrificing knowledge is better. Pranayama. Pranayama, the system of yoga for controlling the breathing process. We will hear more about that in the 6th chapter tomorrow. Pranayama. But devotees can do that also sometimes. It's not a practice, but for help. It's pranayama like the 6 Goswamis, before chanting Gayatri, they would perform pranayama to prepare the mind. And then the mind is peaceful and meditate on Krishna. They could do it. Longevity. The Krishna conscious person at the end of life transferred to the transcendental plane of Lord Krishna. Consequently, he makes no attempt to increase his longevity. It's not necessary. But we have to keep our body nicely healthy as much as possible. The result of sacrifices. All the before mentioned sacrifices help one to become cleansed of simple reactions of material existence. So we don't do that. We chant Hare Krishna, we hear about that. We have a sadhana that by these advantages in life, not only does one become happy and opulent in this life, but also at the end, he enters into the eternal kingdom of God. Either merging into the impersonal Brahman or associating with the Supreme Personality. But happiness as a result of sacrifice in this life and the next. The different sacrifices recommended above automatically solves our economic problem. By performance of jhana, we can have enough food, enough milk, etc. When the body is fully supplied, then the next step is to satisfy the senses. The Vedas prescribe therefore sacred marriage for regulated sense gratification. And one is surely elevated to the platform of release from material bondage, and the highest liberated life is started with the idea. Prescribed actions of body, mind, and voice leads to liberation. Because men are so deeply absorbed in the body concept, these sacrifices are so arranged that one can walk either with the body or the mind or with the intelligence, but all of them are recommended for ultimately bringing about liberation from the body. The purpose of all sacrifices. The purpose of all sacrifices is to arrive to the status of complete knowledge, then to gain release from all material miseries and ultimately engage in loving transcendental service of the Lord. Real knowledge cultivates in Krishna consciousness. Jnana Kanda is higher than Karma Kanda. It is better than the endless knowledge. Why is Jnana Kanda higher? We spoke about Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. If one performs Karma Yoga on the lower level, so we said after a certain time you will become ask questions. Well, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I suffering? Who am I? I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul. That's the beginning. Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda is not Karma Yoga. That's different. Karma Kanda is a process in which one wants a better quality of sense gratification, go to the heavenly planets in next life and so on. That is a material activity, but it's a pious activity. It's the green button, that Sukha, but by pushing that button, that after a long time, because one is pious, one begins also to ask this question, like the lower level of karma yoga. Who am I? Why am I suffering? And then one comes to the lowest spiritual practice, the jnana yoga, trying to understand the difference between spirit and matter by through study of Vedanta and so on. So that therefore, Jnana Kanda or Jnana Yoga is higher than Karma Kanda. But it's not recommended for devotees. Devotees do not push the green button. Never we should do that. So we are not interested in pious activities. The real pious activity is Krishna consciousness. It's giving others Krishna consciousness, bread, Krishna consciousness. Because that's the real pious activity. If you try to give Krishna consciousness to others, then you get it. Krishna gives you Krishna consciousness. Krishna gives you what you are trying to give away. On a material platform, you give something away and get rid of it. But on the spiritual platform, you try to give Krishna consciousness to others, and you get realization. So if many times the devotees ask me what's the shortcut, how can I? This is the shortcut. And therefore Srila Prabhupada gave us a shortcut. He gave us his mission, and by engaging in his mission, Krishna becomes very pleased. Therefore, engaging in his mission is so important for all of us. Reflections. Which of the before mentioned sacrifices are practiced by devotees? That's a good question. That like the sacrifice to give in charity. The devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, I'm a householder. How do I see the relationship with my wife? What's my duty? What should I do? Prabhupada said, you ask your wife to cook. And after she cooked, you offer to the deities. You go outside and call out 3 times, everyone who is hungry, please come in. You can take prasad. But Prabhupada, I think you don't understand me. I want to know. I'm a Grihastha. What's the relationship with my wife? Srila Prabhupada said, you ask your wife to cook. And then you offer it to the deities. And then you go outside, you call 3 times, everyone who is hungry, come in. And the devotee was not satisfied. Prabhupada, but I don't understand. How do I see the relationship with my wife? Srila Prabhupada said the 3rd time, you ask your wife to cook and offer it to the deities. You go outside and calls everyone who is hungry, please come in. Because that's the duty of a householder, to give charity. But that's done in a Krishna conscious way. It is prasad. And their duty is to feed all the others. Of course, in our culture, I don't see that you're in the middle of New York, in your door, you come outside, everyone is but it is the principle, yeah. So that's like our sacrifice in charity, the householders. Also the brahmacharis, they have to control their senses and so on in Krishna consciousness. Many principles are also applicable, but in the realm of Krishna consciousness, not outside. But good. We are coming, I think, the last and most important section now. That this is, I would say, all these verses till the end. I just tell you, memorize them. So important. So, Tatkine Panapadne Parapashinship, Upadakshana Tekhanam Chana Stop Production. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquiring submission and service into him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge in you because they have seen the truth. So it is said here, you should do 3 things. 3 things. Now Vishnu Goswami, the old Gujarati Swami, who left his body more than 10 years ago, he was my Bhaktima Pradakshika, the first devotee that I met. And he used to say, told me, you have to do this SSI. submission, service, and inquiry. You have to do SSI, and then you will get rid of LIF, lamentation, illusion, and fear. I never forgot. Yes, after almost I have to do SSI, and then get rid of lamentation, illusion, and fear. And that was nice. No, because that's the effect of serving the spiritual master. Submission. SSI, service, submission, inquiry. Inquiry. Lamentation, illusion, and fear. That is in the Bhagavatam. I think in 177. But one who hears. Yeah, one who hears the Bhagavatam injected to the ears, then one becomes free from lamentation. Yeah. 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 No. Look at the verse from 174 to 177. It is between. I think it's 176 or 177. 177. Anyway. But and if we take shelter of a spiritual master and inquire submissively, what will happen? Yat Shatvana Brahman, Evan Yasyasi Pandava, Yenabhutan Sheshani, Dakshasyan Matyatomani. Having obtained real knowledge from a realized soul, you will never fall into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living entities are but part of the Supreme. In other words, they are mine. So that means you will start to see everyone. I'm a servant of Krishna, they are also a servant of Krishna. And they are part of Krishna. They belong to Krishna. Everything. And one start to see Krishna in everything. That and then you are on a boat. Apsitas Pabio, Savabia Papakitama, Savankampa, Venua, Krishna, and Santarishta. Even if you are considered to be the most simple of all sinners, when you are situated on the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of your miseries. You get on this transcendental boat. This boat is also ISKCON, this boat. But how to remain on board of the boat? We must remain on board of the boat. Sometimes we may be seasick and so on, but we should never jump overboard. How do we remain in the boat? Bhakti Sharma said, you remain in the boat and you follow the process properly. So every day you have to do 4 things. Follow the regulated principles. And 16 rounds, service, and hearing the Bible. Yeah, we are hearing Bhagavad Gita also related. So every day we must do these 4 things and remain involved. And then, but how does it work? How do we cross this boat? It is crossing the ocean of material existence means purifying your heart. That's when your heart is pure, you have crossed over. That's liberation. But then how is that going to happen? That's in the next verse. Yadaidam Sami Doknir Bashmasako Tarinam Sheknakni Sarakauni Bashmasako Tetata. As the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions of material activities. That means if you practice this knowledge, you will please the spiritual master. If you follow the instructions of the spiritual master, you please the spiritual master. Krishna from within the heart, the Dhamma Yoga. Tesam it starts to purify your heart. Means it takes away the simple reactions. Krishna does that. If we follow the instructions of the spiritual master, that this realization is called Divya Gyan. Divya Gyan. And Krishna gives that form within the heart. If we serve the spiritual master nicely, Divya Gyan ete pokasito. You remember that? That heard before. Every morning we sing that. So it's not that, oh, I get initiation from my Guru Maharaj. You say to Guru Maharaj, thank you for taking all my single reactions. If I need you again, I will let you know. But it doesn't happen like that. We do a fire sacrifice. No, initiation does not mean a fire sacrifice. Initiation, because many Prabhupada disciples got initiated by mail. No, that the spiritual master will take your reactions of your simple activities. If you follow his instructions, spiritual master takes your reactions. There's many times misconception. The body in this will think, oh, I get initiation, job is done. But it's not done. That this verse tells what's happening. Yeah. Yadaidam Susamita near Pashmataka. As blazing fire to aspire with Russians, Arjun, does the fire burn of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material. So if you follow the instructions of the spiritual master nicely, that's going to happen. Then you get the mercy of Krishna. And he will again, and yeah, if you're going to take over us. Yes, please. Good. That, and then the conclusion. Naihyanena sati sampavitram yavuch. Tatsvayam yoga samsiti kalnat malapindati. In this world is nothing so sublime as pure and transcendental knowledge. Knowledge is a mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in this practice of devotion serves and enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course. Yeah, you enjoy this knowledge. Yeah. But yeah, in the last verses, Krishna speaks about having faith or not faith in this knowledge. We will now look at the verses in more detail. So this is a summary of this section. Having explained that all sacrifices lead to transcendental knowledge, Krishna now describes various aspects of transcendental knowledge. To attain transcendental knowledge, one must control the senses and submissively approach the spiritual master to render faithful service to him. I'll read it again. To attain transcendental knowledge, what are the conditions? One must control the senses, all the relative principles, and submissively approach a spiritual master and render service unto him. Thus, one will become free from simple reaction. One will become free from simple reaction. It's not a sacrifice. But one will become free from simple reaction and understand knowledge of his relationship with the Supreme. One becomes free from simple reaction. By the mercy of the spiritual master takes simple reactions away. That it's by his mercy. So that's Krishna's arrangement. That it is, yeah, this first tasmat in the Bhagavatam, one must surrender to a spiritual master. That Yeah, Tasma Gurun Pavachate. One should surrender to the spiritual master. It's clearly mentioned there. So thus one will become free from all sinful action and understand knowledge of his relationship with the Lord. So the relationship with Krishna will develop. That good. Obtaining knowledge. How do we obtain this knowledge? Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. That's Vishwanath that is comment. So that is important. Like I said, the mercy comes to Prabhupada and our spiritual master. That's Krishna's arrangement. That he has, Krishna does not give directly bhakti. He has delegated power to give bhakti to his pure devotees. That so that is an important point. That only by the mercy of the spiritual master can we make spiritual advancement. The satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master. Unless there is submission and service inquiries from the learned spiritual master, it will not be effective. It will not work. This is the Vaya medium. Then the result of knowledge. That's the next verse. There's this verse. I read it again. Jatjat Panatama Panyasis Pandava. Yena Bhutan Sashini. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall into illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living entities are but part of me. So that will be discussed more in the 5th chapter. The Pandit, the learned devotee, sees Krishna in the heart of the Brahman, of the elephant, the Sudha, in everyone's heart. So he starts to see only Krishna around him. That and how everyone, Krishna is controlling everyone to the heart of living entity. That and all we are all parts of Krishna. In other words, you become Krishna conscious. Result of knowledge from a self-realized soul is learning that all living entities are part and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. The living being's sense of being an identity apart from Krishna is called Maya. There's a separatist mentality. We think we are different. Separatist. That I'm going to do it. But we hear from Bhagavad Gita, our doing is very little, only desiring. That and that's Maya. That separatist mentality. Separatist mentality means accepting designations. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paritma mala nirmalam rishkena shivnam bhakti avijite. That's Narada Muni's definition of pure devotional service. It said devotional service is giving up all upadis, all false evil, all bodily conception, and realize you are just a servant of the Lord, meant to please the transcendental senses of the Supreme Lord. And that is pure devotional service. But due to our material conditioning, we are separating ourselves from Krishna. If I say I'm a man, I separate myself from all women, right? I'm different. If I say I'm Belgian, I don't know, there's a weird species, but if I'm Belgian, I'm different from all other nationalities. If I say I'm a sannyasi, I'm different from all those who are not sannyasi. These are upadis. We should never think in that way. We should think ourselves as a humble servant of Krishna. That and nothing else. That we are not learned, we are all fools. That's reality. I'm sorry, straightforward. I'm the greatest fool. That we are, yes. that a living being's sense of being an identity apart from Krishna is called Maya. Liberation means to be situated in one's constitutional position as the eternal servant of Krishna. That's the result of knowledge. The power of knowledge. Here you have the boat. What did Srila Prabhupada say about the boat? Even if you are considered the most simple of all sinners, when you are situated on the boat of transcendent knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of mysteries. That's the translation of Prabhupada. Perfect knowledge received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the path of liberation. The boat of Krishna consciousness is very simple, but at the same time the most sublime. And now the burning of the karma. All karmas, even punya karma, are destroyed by Brahma Vidya. So the result of in the past having pushed the green and the red button, all results are going. That is destroyed by Brahma Vidya, by the fire of realization of one's own Atma and Paramatma, because one starts to act as a spirit soul, not as the body. And that's the power of acting as a spirit soul. Now, verse 38, the mature fruit of all mysticism, reflections. Do I approach a bona fide spiritual master, inquire from him, and serve his instructions? Am I doing that? If so, do I experience a power, inner peace, and vision resulting from realizing this knowledge? If not, why? Lack of patience, not fully surrendered to the instructions of the spiritual master, lack of humility, immature understanding. Just food for thought. Now, the last section of the last verses. The faithful and the faithless. So this is one of these verses where Krishna said, if you do that, you get this result. If you do that, that's the other result. I read the verses. Shadaval labate jnanam tatpa samyatam jnanam labapam santim asyanadigatsati. A faithful man will dedicate to transcendental knowledge and will subdue his senses eligible to achieve that knowledge. And having achieved it, one quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. So, faithful and dedicated to transcendental knowledge. Dedicated to transcendental knowledge. But may I make a suggestion? I traveled many years with Kalanona Maharaj, a few months a year. And his sadhana was every day he would take one chapter of Bhagavad Gita and he would have a little paper and he would cover the verse. He would say the verse in Sanskrit and then look if it was correct, move the paper, and then recite from memory the translation and look if it was correct. And so he will do the whole chapter. And it is every day a chapter. And Maharaj knows the entire Bhagavad Gita by heart. Every verse, every translation. He knows also what's in the purport, the main points in the purport. Every purport. You can ask him any purport. He's doing that for 50 years now. He joined in 68. 68, that's 70. Yeah, more than 50 years. He's doing that. Yes. But if you have that knowledge, even if you don't memorize everything, if you do that every day, one chapter, Sanskrit and translation, just read it. And you do that without fail, and you start to do that after many years. You know what's there in Bhagavad Gita. I assure you. I did that for many years. I'm not like Maharaj. Maybe I know 200%, not perfect, but I'm honest. But he knows every word. Once I was inside in Serbia with him, and we went to Ekyasta's house to discuss a chapter of Krishna book. There's a chapter on the feelings of separation by the gopis. And we arrived there, and Anonymous asked, yeah, can you give me Krishna book? And yeah, we have Krishna book, but not in English. Maharaj, no problem. He started to recite the whole chapter by word by word. Astonishing. But it requires dedication to transcend the knowledge. This knowledge, if you have this knowledge and you see your life to this knowledge, you are always safe. That and when I met, and it's Pravida Prabhu, some of them may know him, Pravida, from Achari, and yeah, San Diego. He comes to me, we meet, and it does that every time. Yeah, say a verse, said. He wants to hear a verse. Translation. That's nice. That's we should be dedicated to this knowledge. That will save our life, our spiritual life. That will guide us against so many problems. That sublime this knowledge. That's just perception, seeing through the scriptures. Yeah. Because sometimes I'm amazed. I studied in total 16 years at university. I did a bachelor's in tax and accountancy. I had a bachelor's in the study of religion, and a master's in over 4 or 5 years in Indian religion, and then 5 or 6 years PhD in the study of religion. We study so much. Why not study Bhagavad Gita? It's much more important. So it says here, the qualification for this knowledge, page 1939, is you must have faith. And faith means I accept this as my guiding light. And I want to practice it. And follow the regulated principles, controlling the senses. Because that's a problem. If you don't control your senses, you don't follow the correlated principles, lust is coming in your system, that covers you more and more. How can you understand anything? The Krishna says you have to control your senses, have faith in the scriptures, and fixed in the practice. You must have sadhana to understand this knowledge and accepting a spiritual master. But this qualification is not faith. This Krishna consciousness is a process of increasing faith. But faith and knowledge go together. If you don't have knowledge, your faith will be very thin. But it's supported by knowledge and realization. The faith becomes strong. And that's the difference between an advanced devotee and a beginner. A beginner has very little faith. And is in a dangerous position because he has no knowledge. But when you have this knowledge, then you are in a safe position. There's a Madhyam Adhikar has not perfect knowledge, but great faith. And the Uttam Adhikar is perfect knowledge, perfect faith. Yeah. So I read these verses. The faithless man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and with subdued his senses, the little to achieve his knowledge, and having achieved it, quickly attained the supreme spiritual peace. So faith is attained by the desires of devotional service and chanting Hare Krishna. How do you get faith by performing devotional service? Because Krishna will reciprocate. And when you experience that reciprocation, then you have faith. People ask me, but you are a monk, you travel constantly, how do you pay your travel expenses? Well, I must say I'm never worried about it. Krishna arranges always. Sometimes just that yet a few moments before, but he always arranges that. So that gives faith. If you have that experience for 20-25 years, Krishna always arranges without fail every time. You get faith that Krishna put me in difficult situations sometimes. That but he always protects you. That's interesting. This is 20 years ago, I was in the Ukraine. And the regional secretary came to me and said, I want to give you $25,000 because I cannot transfer to the bank from here, to the communistic country at that moment. And that, please take it with you and you transfer it. But of course, you are allowed only to take $5,000 out of the country. So we came in Odessa at the airport with many devotees. I had first applied to Budapest and from Budapest to Brussels, and many devotees were on that. And I was one of the speakers at the festival, so, and Devan Maharaj was there, and we were on the same flight. So the devotees gave us some flower garland. So when we came up to security, they took us apart. And Devan Maharaj had also too much money. And he declared it, but he said, yeah, it's not my money, it's for the whole group. Anyway, and he was laughing, but the lady became angry. You should not smile. Anyway, he got through it. But then it was my turn, and they asked me how much money, and I gave them some $200-300 in my wallet. But this money was in my backpack, and he asked to open it, and I opened it, and I saw the money, but somewhere or another he did not see it. I said, go. So Krishna said for me, oh, and I've experienced that many times, but that gives faith, this experience. Krishna is there. You try to please him, and he protects you. That the experience of Krishna gives faith. That experience Krishna is there. Not only these are extreme cases, but just also when I'm giving lectures, mostly I don't know before what to say. Krishna gives everything to the heart. But and all this remembrance comes and these things come. Krishna gives me everything. That gives faith. That gives faith. So faith is important. But faith comes from experience in Krishna consciousness. And especially experience, and faith comes from you hear these instructions in Bhagavad Gita, and you practice them, and you get a result that Krishna gives you. that Krishna predicts here in Bhagavad, that gives faith that this instruction, trying to be satisfied in every situation, you just try to do that. Your life will change. That we need faith, the experience that Akyashatadana Samsyatma Vinashati Nine Logos Sinapavanaskam Samsyatma. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the fulfilled scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down, for the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world and the next. So that's up to us, that's a disqualification. Qualified or disqualified. So qualified, we are qualified when we are faith in scripture. When we are fixed in a practice of control in this sense. As a result, you attain knowledge and liberation. If you have no faith in the scripture, you are doubtful, no happiness in this life and next. Okay, these are the last two verses. Conclusion. Concentrated in the self by means of superior jnana, Krishna consciousness. I read the verses. Yogi samyasya karmanam jnana sanchana sanchana atmavantam karmani nanibanam tidananja. When acting the devotional service, announcing the fruits of his action, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, of hunger, of riches. And then, Tasma jnana sambhudam ritsam jnana snatma chitvenam sansyam yoganapishpatishtavada. Therefore the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be smashed by the weapon of knowledge. Until yoga or bharat, stand and fight, so act according to this knowledge. So if we act with this knowledge, we stop our reactions of our work. It's materially inaction. It's inaction in the action. Spiritual action and materially inactive. And 42, that the means to superior jnana is Nishkam Karma of Krishna consciousness. So, yes, what is this superior jnana? That is love for Krishna. And I tell you quickly a story. Buddha was sent to Vrindavan because Krishna could not go. He had to stay in Mathura. Yarasandha would attack. So Krishna had promised the residents of Vrindavan, yes, I will come back. But he could not, so he sent Buddha. And he sees Nanda Maharaj and Mudryasura. And Buddha is a Pandit, is a disciple of Vyaspati, very learned, that he knows the scriptures and so on, learned Pandit. And then when he saw Nanda Maharaj, Mudryasura, he saw that they were separation from Krishna. Mother Yasoda was closing her eyes and tears came from her eyes. Nanda Maharaj's head was down. And Buddha was thinking, they are suffering so much. Their love for Krishna is too high. I will try to bring them their prema down. And he started to say to Nanda Maharaj, you know, Krishna is not really your son. He's Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Paramatma in everyone's heart. That, so that he's the origin of everything. He's as good as Narayan. He was thinking, I'm going to bring the Prema down by that. Because they will come up into our reference. But Nanda Maharaj said to Uddhav, Uddhav, you are not very intelligent. I know you are much younger than me and not so experienced. And I know, yes, Narayan is God. We are worshipping the Saranam Sula. But we know all of this. But you are saying that Krishna is God? Well, you are very much mistaken. Lord Narayan is transcendental. He never becomes angry. But my Krishna, if I don't feed him in time, he becomes very angry. And Lord Narayan is very honest. But my Krishna steals butter. He's a thief. How can you say that he's Narayan? Anyway, he tried to bring his prema down, but he could not. This prema, this love for Krishna, is higher knowledge. Is higher knowledge. That is the highest self-realized knowledge, love for Krishna. Therefore, here, this is text 41. One who acts in devotion serves to announcing the fruits of his action and whose doubts are being destroyed by transcendental knowledge is situated practically in the cellar. So this factory in the cellar, in devotion service, is being situated as a servant of Krishna. And we have heard different relationships with Krishna. And the situation of Nanda Maharaj and Maria Sona are the most fortunate. Because Uddhav was thinking they are suffering. Although he knew, when he saw Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda feeling this separation, Uddhav said, I'm very happy to see you in that condition. And they were suffering. Was he a masochist or something? No. He knew that this love for Krishna is an experience of spiritual bliss. If we feel a separation in this world, then we suffer because of our attachment. But if we feel a separation from Krishna, it's an experience of ananda, bliss. And the more intense the relationship, the more intense the bliss. So the suffering of devotees is an experience of spiritual ecstasy. But we cannot understand that from material form. We mistake that completely. This is being factually situated in the soul. Always blissful. The last verse, Tasmajana Sambutamit Stamjana Sinapana Chitpanam Samsyamyam Artistatis Devata Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge unto yoga. O God, stand and fight. So act according to this knowledge. Be nishkam karma. Act for Krishna. Don't want anything for yourself. But well, Krishna attunes to arm himself with transcendental knowledge. Right? Sacrifices are based on regulated action and are meant to awaken Krishna consciousness. Sacrifice is spiritual. It performed with a spiritual objective, which requires knowledge of oneself and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is what Bhakti Thakur says in Harinam Chintamani. To chant proper the holy name, one must be situated in Sambandha Jnana. Know who Krishna is, what our position is as a servant, and chant the holy name of Krishna as a servant to Krishna, out of love of Krishna. So that's the objective. This is all philosophy. My spiritual master Bhakti Charuna, someone asked him, what does it mean chanting Hare Krishna? He said, chanting Hare Krishna is saying to Krishna, I love you. Very simple. But it's the same thing. The same thing. Very simple. I love you. I'm your servant. That be situated in knowledge of our constitutional position as a servant who wants to give one's love to Krishna. So we have heard the yoga ladder, but karma kanda is not a yoga because Krishna is not involved. There are pious activities to go to heaven. Karma yoga, Krishna becomes involved. Saknarta karma yatra, karma. Jnana yoga, we heard already here in the fourth chapter, a little more in the fifth chapter. And Jnana yoga, chapter 6, Ashtanga yoga, we will hear tomorrow. That links between the processes. That karma kanda fight out of duty, perform sacrifice for Vishnu, and living and not living for the satisfaction of the sense and living pain. That's, yeah, that is karma kanda, karma yoga. Karma yoga to jnana yoga. Devotional service is better on penetration because it produces jnana. That we will hear to this at 4 o'clock. And yoga performed in knowledge of the super soul. So jnana yoga to jnana yoga. The highest is one who meditates on the super soul with love. That jnana yoga to bhakti yoga. Yeah, this is one who sees me in everyone's heart, sees me everywhere, is never lost. That's then jnana yoga comes back. Anyway, these are links. You don't have to remember them. Then study them later. These are the memorization verses for the Bhakti Sastri course. I don't know if it's the same for you. Probably not. But 42, 48, 49, 434. And yeah, these are for this chapter. I don't know if it's the same. Yeah, okay. The same. Yeah, there. Good. Any questions? What? That chapter. So if there are no questions, then I look forward to see you at 4 o'clock. What I want to do is today's finish also chapter 5. There are only 28 verses, chapter 5. And then tomorrow, the first half of the 6th chapter, and at noontime, the second half. And then if you have free in the evening, you can study. Is that a good idea? Yeah, okay, let's do it like this. Thank you very much.